Well, as the country enters into lockdown level 2, many may see the easing of the regulations as a signifier of back to normal. But the reality is that the country is still in a state of disaster. What are the implications for those who contravene lockdown regulations? South African Police Service National Spokesperson Brigadier Vish Naidoo joins us now to talk about this. Vish, good evening and thank you so much for your time tonight. As you're hearing the reaction there, people are saying rules? Which rules? We are moving now to lockdown level 2. However, we are still in a state of a disaster management act, are we not?
Very good evening to you, Thabo, and thank you for this opportunity. Yes, indeed, you have said it in your intro. We are still in a state of disaster, meaning that the virus is still upon us. We haven't been able to eradicate this virus. I don't think any country in the world that is experiencing this virus has been able to eradicate it. There's still no proven vaccine for this virus, so we are all still vulnerable to it. The reason we moved down to alert level 2 is because we started to see the decline in the number of infections. We, of course, needed to open the economy. The country has been suffering. The people have been making huge sacrifices. People have, the greater majority of people, should I say, have been making huge sacrifices. You have coined it quite nicely to talk about the corona fatigue. People were starting to feel the fatigue. But when we move from level 5, alert level 5 to alert level 4 and then to 3, that somewhat relieved that fatigue. I think now with alert level 2, people are still very conscious from majority of the messages that you've been reading now. Majority of the people are still very conscious about the fact that the virus is still upon us, and we are confident that they're going to continue to take precautionary measures by maintaining social distancing, by wearing off the necessary personal protective equipment and so forth.
Now, so, 300,000 people now have criminal records for violating the lockdown regulations. Of course, it's been taken to the Department of Justice to decide whether those are going to be expunged or not. But here are the 3 areas of concern: liquor gatherings, transport offences, as well as businesses violating lockdown regulations. What can we expect as we move to lockdown level 2?
Well, the regulations have been gazetted on Tuesday, Monday night, midnight, Tuesday morning, that is, Monday night, Tuesday morning at midnight. So I encourage everyone, go and familiarize yourself with what is outlined in the regulations, because there are still things that you can and cannot do. While people are allowed to do interprovincial travels without necessary permits, there's still the curfew between 10 p.m. and 5 p.m. in the morning. So we are saying to people, you still need to adhere to that. Those are laws. If you are found to be contravening laws or regulations, the sale of alcohol as well is between Monday to a Thursday. No alcohol on consumption or off consumption will be sold between Thursday and Sunday, or Monday morning rather. So if people are found to be contravening those laws, they will be arrested, prosecuted. They're likely to pay a hefty fine or even go to court and pay a fine or face an alternative jail sentence depending on the seriousness of the offense. So there's still laws in place, and we're asking people to still continue to respect those regulations, and it's there to protect them. It's not there to punish anyone, because the virus is still upon us.
So somebody said on social media when the president announced the move to lockdown level 2, saying, well, thank goodness, at least now police will stop policing people about smokes and liquor, and they'll actually go and focus on the actual crimes being committed in the country. Are we likely to see more police visibility?
Well, remember, before the virus came upon us, we still had roadblocks. We still had high-density visible policing operations. We still policed the way alcohol was being sold in the different provinces, because remember, these are legislated provincially. So we still police that. Those will all still go on. The only difference now is that it's more intensified. There's greater restrictions in terms of when people are allowed to buy and sell and consume and so forth. But even more, we are now even our security forces as SAPS is augmented by the South African National Defence Force and the various traffic departments and metro departments. So we have more police officers and great visibility. So we will be, while combating crime, because there's greater movement of people now, so we will also be looking out for the serious and violent crimes, your aggravated robberies and so forth, but we will still be very conscious and mindful of the fact that the regulations are still in place, and we're expecting people to adhere to that. And if we find anyone contravening those regulations, like any other laws, we will have to impose those sentences and punishments as the law is outlining it.
According to Minister Kele, we were much safer during the first quarter of 2020 because of the ban on alcohol sales. Contact crime plummeted 37.4%. Now, it is a fact that alcohol is now on sale. Not only that, we are moving to lockdown level 2, which means interprovincial travel is now allowed. More people are beginning to move around. Certainly, this becomes a little bit more harder for you to do your job. What have you learned from the time of the lockdown that you're going to be applying now?
Well, indeed, the lack of availability of alcohol has assisted us a great deal, but that is not the only factor that influenced the reduction of crime. Also, the lack or the prevention of movement of people also assisted us in reducing, particularly your contact crimes and your property-related crimes and so forth. So we have most certainly taken lessons from what we've learned during lockdown. We've found that you cannot replace the presence of police. High visibility of police officers is imperative to successful policing. Yes, we can have technology, we can implement technology and so forth, but the presence of police is equally fundamental to effective and efficient policing. So all those lessons that we've learned, we are planning to go away on a crime retreat. We want to take those lessons. We want to see how best we can propose possible legislation around them and come up with them for the future, for the betterment of the people, for the safety of the people, and so forth. But this lockdown period has helped us, but at a huge cost economically, at a huge cost socially. But people's lives have been much safer during this period than before.
Now, certain conduct is not criminalized, Vish, such as wearing of masks and social distancing. However, this is something that police are also looking at. How do you enforce that?
Well, I must say, we have had very few incidents, and you may have seen people have been capturing videos and circulating them on various social media platforms where people were absolutely rude and arrogant when requested to wear a mask in a public place. But by far the greater majority of people, men, women, and children, have been wearing masks diligently because I think they now understand and realize the seriousness of this virus, and people are adhering to that. Yes, you're quite right. It may not be against the law for one to not wear a mask in a public place, but should a person be without a mask and is wanting to go into a supermarket or into a shopping complex or into public transport like your taxis, and if that person is allowed there, then the person responsible for those environments, whether it's the supermarket or the shopping center or the taxi, will be prosecuted for allowing such a person within that confined space without wearing the necessary PPEs. So as individuals walking on the street and so forth, if you're not wearing a mask, we want to say to you, wear the mask. It's for your own interest. It's for your own life, to save your own life and the lives of others. Respect that mandatory requirement. It may not be against the law, but it is for your own protection that the individual should wear the mask. If we find somebody without a mask and not maintaining social distancing from other people, we will go up to them as police officers or security forces and advise them of the importance for them to wear the mask. But unfortunately, we won't be able to effect an arrest.
Speaking on behalf of the South African Police Service, Brigadier Vish Naidoo, thank you for your time tonight.